Okay. Okay. So I'll just pick up here. And what I wanted to preface this with is what I see a lot in the holistic industry is that we want to encourage so many great things. And that is by far leaps and bounds where we used to be, I think, as a nation within the United States. And as far as people wanting to get healthy, I see this trend of health being like a fast food mentality. And so I want to help you kind of break that if you think you're leaning towards anything in that nature. When we talk about cleansing the body and detoxing it, we have to understand that your detox must be earned. You have to earn that. And that means that some prep work is going to need to be done. What happens when we just jump into things without focusing on some prep work is something really undesirable. We end up just recirculating toxins because we don't understand that our detoxification pathways, they're not really open. So one of the first things you do is what everybody's gearing up for now is the liver is the first wonderful place to start. But there are some things that we should do prior to even jumping on and targeting the liver. So number one, we should be getting daily movement every day. That's a non-negotiable. We forget a lot that our complete intestinal system and your colon, that is a muscle and it works when you work it. So when we have a sedentary lifestyle where we mostly sit around all day, there are instances and times in certain people's lives where they no longer get this gut movement that is healthy from having an active life. So for example, if you just have a habit, of not getting daily bodily movement, you may notice that you don't get urges to go to the bathroom. And the reason that this is so important is because you have to have that peristaltic action through the entire GI tract. Your stomach works in peristaltic movement as well. It is secreting chyme and kind of revolving all this food around, mixing everything around, kind of like a um a washer, washing your clothes. So the stomach works like that. And then once you get into the intestines, your intestines as well work like that. And so does your colon on the way out. So what happens is we get people that want to jump into detoxing that don't even have 1 to 2 bowel movements a day. These people typically are going to the bathroom, like every 3 days, every 4 days. And so something like that, we have to make sure that prior to initiating any kind of cleansing system, doesn't matter what body system you're targeting, this is going to be vital. Bodily movement on a daily basis. You can start out with 15-25 minutes of brisk walking, okay, out in the fresh air, whether it's hiking, making sure that you're getting that healthy sunshine. That healthy sunshine is really going to help you with your circadian rhythm. That means, you're rising and sleeping at night. It really does help the body. Daily bodily movement helps you also with your lymphatic system. Okay, so your lymphatic system parallels your circulatory system. Your circulatory system has your heart as a pump to keep that going. So that heart is the pump that moves this blood all around your body. Well, your lymphatic system doesn't have a pump like that. There is no system that pumps the lymphatic system for you. That relies completely on you. And that's why movement is so vital and it is so important. So we've got to remember at least the first things we're going to target with daily bodily movement is our lymphatic system is going to get a boost, and our intestinal system and our colon, they're going to get a boost as well, so that we start with this memory of what it knows it's supposed to do and creating a healthy peristaltic action. Avoiding sugar should be a non-negotiable as well. And people get scared when I say this. I mean, avoid added sugars, okay? So the ice cream, the juice, right? Which is just really literally a glass of sugar water. I don't mean avoid sugar as in your fruits. Now, I do tend to lean towards a preference, of low glycemic index fruits. And for me, that means all of the berries, strawberries, Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, those are low glycemic index fruits. Absolutely enjoy those whenever you feel, oh, you want something sweet and you need something to kind of curb that. Absolutely. When I mean avoid sugar, I mean, you know, the cherry pie, the ice cream, the milkshakes, that tend to have the bleached white processed sugar. Avoiding processed foods is going to be a great idea too. So, no more going through the drive-through. If we have a tendency where this is just what our daily life is like, we're going to want to avoid that, because this is already, without you knowing, this is prepping your body. The more proper fuel you give it, the more it's going to be ready to handle something like a cleansing or like a detoxing. Okay. So when I'm talking about processed foods that I prefer to avoid, I'm talking about things like that are going to include MSG, high fructose corn syrup, bleached white sugar. You've got your food colorings, you've got your artificial flavors, and all kinds of things like that. They are just difficult for your body to eliminate if there's constantly an onslaught of all of that coming in on a regular basis. When you make these slight changes, your body really is already going to shift into doing what you want it to do. Another reason why I'm really big on avoiding sugar is because, number one, it wipes out magnesium. It takes about over 50 molecules of magnesium just to process one molecule of sugar. So that right there, that's already crazy. Now, also, it lowers your immunity for 6 hours after you consume it. So whether it's the milkshake, the cherry pie, the ice cream, all that kind of stuff, those things lower your immunity for 6 hours after you consume them. So big hint here, avoid those night treats because they're gonna have the worst effect on you, okay? If you want a treat like a dessert, because I'm not about restriction, I never teach that. If you want a dessert, earn it. That means you have your dessert after your rich and hearty meal with rich, hearty protein, grass-fed meats or animal products, healthy fats, super healthy fats. When you consume a rich, hearty, nutrient-dense meal and then you have a little dessert afterwards, its impact is minimized, and so it's not so negative. So I always say those things. I say to my clients all the time, you want your dessert, you need to earn your dessert. What I don't want people doing is I want us to stop the habit of eating our feelings away, right? If you just want the dessert, then have the dessert, but don't let it be a habit that you're just eating your feelings away. The next thing is going to be a super nutrient dense diet. These are healthy fats are going to be so key. They're going to help you curb sugar cravings. If you feel that you have a sugar craving and you add something like a healthy fat or a juicy piece of steak, with some butter on a sweet potato, that alone, that curbs your fat pretty well, or your sugar craving pretty well, because you've got the sweet in the meal. You've got the sweet. Most of the time, you don't even need dessert afterwards. A good tip that I always give people is shop around with the clean 15 and the dirty dozen list. People, it's so easy to forget, well, what's okay if I buy conventional, and what are the non-negotiables? What are on my list that absolutely need to be, or that they should be, from the organic side, because there are some conventional things that have an absorbent amount of pesticides and all kinds of things like that, usually things that are grown from the ground, and those tend to be your greens, your potatoes. Okay, those things usually end up on the dirty dozen list, so it would make really good sense for you to go ahead and buy them organically. But print those things out. It's easy to forget, it's easy to confuse things. My favorite veggies when I'm prepping for a body detox are going to be veggies in the brassica section. Um, brassica brassica section veggies, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, no, sweet potatoes doesn't belong there, but I put it there because I'm going to address it. Um, your brassicas are your cauliflower, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts, things like that. What they do is they really, really help hormonally, both for men and women. They help hormonally in assisting your body in eliminating that excess estrogen. We know we don't want excess estrogen circulating around. If we're already not eating so hot, not getting so much bodily movement, then hormonally we're already not doing so great. So this is going to have a really big boost for you. It's going to be super great. I typically tend to stay away from carrots because carrots are a high sugar vegetable, but there's a caveat that if you go towards heirloom carrots, where you get the package where the carrots are, purple, a yellow and orange, those type of heirloom carrots are higher in polyphenols and they tend to be much lower in sugar. You can cook them up, with some salt and butter, and it's absolutely delicious. I put sweet potatoes here because sometimes people just need, a sweet. And like I said, I'm not into encouraging restrictive behavior, because the moment that your brain figures out that you're going to restrict anything, automatically it puts you in famine mode. And that means anything you're going to consume is going to be hoarded as fat. And that is not what we want. So I always work with my clients. Some people need more hand holding than others. But a big key here is not to tell yourself that you're going to restrict all these things from yourself. I want you to tell yourself you're just going to replace things. That is a much easier thing to handle for your brain, instead of your brain going haywire because you've told yourself you're going to restrict all of these things. Okay, so we want to prep for a cleansing. And in that prepping, we don't want our body and our brain, we don't want the body getting the message from the brain that, we're going to hoard everything as fat, because now we're in restrictive mode and we've got to just get into famine mode. So you don't want to do that. So the last bullet point here was basically what I started out with, just having this fast food mentality and thinking that, if you do something once, people kind of tend to liken detoxing with kind of like spring cleaning and stuff like that. But really, detoxification should be a way of life, because actually, if you provide your body the correct fuel, normally anyway, your body is built to keep you clean, providing you give it the right fuel. So as long as we can steer away from that fast food mentality and understand that this is just a way of life, and in your way of life, you can have your treats, you can earn them, and you can keep your body cleansed on a regular basis, and not something where you tell yourself, I'm going to do this month, and then I'm going to do something 3 months from now, and then you never think about it again, and you revert back to your old habits, and then you keep getting back into the same position, that you started from. Okay, so here are a few signs of a congested liver, and I just want to let you know it is very hard to find an exhaustive list online. And this is because the liver is so valuable. It takes part in over 500 reactions in the body. So many lists that you see, a lot of them will be different because the liver is tied to so many things. So some of these signs can also be kind of bundled in with other issues as well. But here's just a typical, non-exhaustive list of what a congested liver looks like. You're going to have chemical sensitivity. These are people, when you walk down the laundry aisle in the supermarket, you're almost ready to pass out. You can't even take that. You can't take inhaling all those fake perfumes and all that stuff. Automatically, you get a pounding migraine feeling type thing. You get a pain behind your eyes. Might be that your liver might needs a little bit of assistance cleansing. If you have eczema, that is also a sign of a congested liver. Now, eczema is an umbrella term. Things fall under that they can't even explain as far as skin conditions go. But I would say things like eczema, psoriasis, issues like that. If you get rashes easily, if you have overly sensitive skin, you may want to consider taking a look at your liver. If you bruise easily, I know a lot of people get surprised by that, but if you bruise easily, maybe pay attention and probably investigate your liver. If you swell easily and you get swelling, you maybe bump your arm walking from one room to the next, and you just automatically get these kind of like abnormal quick reactions that actually shouldn't be so exaggerated. Asthma, seasonal allergies, sinus issues, that is a really, really big one. People don't usually put two and two together. that these seasonal allergies and stuff like that, you can look towards your liver, and if you address it and help it and cleanse it, you would, you would do really well, and your allergies would kind of not show up anymore. Now, blood sugar imbalance, I'm sure that that surprises many of you. It surprised me also once I started learning about the value of the liver, but absolutely, the liver is in charge of a lot of things. One of those is storing glycogen for energy, brain fog, hormonal imbalances, if you have digestive issues. And again, this is by no means exhaustive, because it's kind of hard to have an exhaustive I identified list for the liver specifically, because since it's attached to so many, over 500 um, processes that go on in the body, it's really tied to a lot. I would even throw in here thyroid issues, because the thyroid directly deals with the liver. So if you have issues with your thyroid, you might want to consider a nice healthy, easy cleansing for your liver. So how important is your liver? Your liver performs over 500 functions, metabolizing medications, removing waste products from your bloodstream. It regulates your blood sugar levels. It's creating essential nutrients for you. It produces something called albumin, and this is a protein that keeps fluid in your bloodstream from leaking out into surrounding tissues. It carries hormones for you, vitamins and enzymes throughout the body. Bile is something critical for digestion. If your liver is not healthy and it cannot provide a substantial amount of bile for you, you're dead in the water, because bile is vital and necessary for digestion, absorption of fats in your small intestine. So everything, they say all diseases begin in the gut, but really what's tied to the gut? The mouth. So if anything is off with your digestion, you can guarantee that your gut is going to be as ruined as your digestion is. If you can't break down and absorb nutrients and break them down to the smallest usable parts for your cells to use, you have to take care of that. Your liver filters removing toxins, byproducts, any harmful substances from your blood, leaving the stomach and the intestines. It's going to regulate your amino acids. There's a tight regulation here of amino acids in the bloodstream, and this is because it's necessary for proper production of proteins. Blood clotting. People, I don't know if they really put two and two together that your blood clotting factors, your liver has a very, very important part to do with that. It's going to create coagulants for you using vitamin K that can only be utilized with bile from your liver. So again, a few bullet points above that, bile, how important it is. And these are the things that the liver does. Now, there's no way that we could go over all 500 processes and functions that the liver is involved in, but here are some of the key ones. Storing your vitamins. Your liver acts as a storage. It's going to put away vitamins A, D, E, and K, B12, along with minerals, including iron and copper, and it removes bacteria from your bloodstream. So this is your liver. I mean, it's kind of at the top of the anatomy diagram for a very, very big reason. A lot of things have to go through the liver first before they can get anywhere else. In fact, just about everything. So sugar control. Your liver has a very big job removing excess glucose from the bloodstream, and it stores it as glycogen for you. This is why we can get up and go work out without having breakfast and without having a meal. Why? Because as we're working out, expending energy and the need for sugar increases, your liver just dumps it out for you in the form of glycogen as you continue to exert yourself, okay? And then it's going to convert glycogen back into glucose when it's needed. So this is obviously one of the main important parts, as far as when your body comes to play, and when there are other things that are amiss. A lot of times we don't put two and two together that the liver is really something we should be looking at, not exactly treating the thyroid. Take a look at the liver. If you can get it to a very healthy state, you can really correct a lot of things. And here is a graphic to kind of, because I'm so visual, and I think that you guys are visual too, and you appreciate visuals like I do. So these are just just visually for you to see, about the blood sugar balance, the storage of glycogen, production of bile, your immune system. Your liver has a lot to do with your immune system. It has a lot to do with tagging viruses and pathogens as far as things in your blood when they get there and they don't belong there. Okay, it maintains the hepatic and portal vein immune system. It keeps it healthy and it maintains it. It's kind of like the janitor that runs it. Your liver produces the cholesterol that you need, and people want to demonize so much cholesterol, but not many understand that without proper levels of cholesterol, you can't synthesize vitamin D. If you have super low cholesterol below 170, okay, that cholesterol is so out of whack. It is so low in production. Definitely look at your liver. If you guys come back with labs and your cholesterol is under 170, your liver produces healthy cholesterol. And if you're not meeting that need with healthy fats and those beautiful free range eggs cooked in grass-fed butter or cooked in grass-fed fresh lard. I just got my what do you call it? I just got my little bundle that I always get from my farmer. I just met him and I got myself my farm fresh lard, and I cook all of my stuff in it. Why? Because it's rich in vitamin D. So is butters and all kinds of things like that. Raw milk, all that stuff has to do with your healthy production of cholesterol. You have to have these things for detoxification. This is your liver is going to filter out your medications, your over the counter, your OTCs, your drugs, alcohol. If you enjoy alcohol, it functions with fatty acids, with your steroids, your hormones. Okay, it's going to move out ammonia and convert it into urea, which is a less dangerous substance in the body, and it's going to address environmental targets, toxins and allergens for you. So what I really just want to drive home is that you should be in a really good place before you jump into a detox. And this is why we've been doing this in this group, and I've been trying to make posts every day and letting you guys know, get your body movement, get out in the fresh sunshine, in the fresh air, strive to get to 2 bowel movements a day, because your colon is the dump site for your body. And if you're going to start removing waste and there's nowhere to dump it in because your colon has not been effectively moving things out, and there's kind of like a backlog, of work that has to be done, when you start detoxification of any kind, you're going to start recirculating those toxic things that we're pulling out, and you don't want that to happen. You don't want to feel worse than what you did before you started detoxing, just in general. And so that was really what we kind of wanted to drive home. Landy did want me to remember to go ahead and mention the Q&A that we're going to have tomorrow. So I think there's a little thing that Landy posted, and so if there's any questions in our group, for myself, we're going to go on about 3 p.m. Mountain Time, so that's 4 p.m. Central Time, I think. I'm very time zone challenged, so if Landy hears me, she can correct me if I have it wrong, but I'm pretty sure, I think it's 3 p.m. Mountain Time, and then all those other time zone times. So are there any questions in the chat or anything, Landy?
Sorry, I had to get, I could only see you and I couldn't figure out how to get back to me. I think, did Tina get back on, or is she?
I don't
I guess she's
know.
off. I saw a good question in the chat. And so I'm copying it for our Q&A tomorrow. Yes, time zones are correct. We are going to be meeting at 4 p.m. Central.
Okay.
And we are going to have a Zoom that we're just going to stream in the Facebook group, because I found out you can't, I don't think Facebook lets you add anyone anymore unless you're on a phone or something. So we'll just go with the Zoom, we'll stream it. So sounds amazing. I will, is that all you had tonight, Ivy? It was absolutely amazing.
Yes, thank you.
I learn so much every time you teach and speak, and it's just, you're such a wealth of knowledge and such just a real asset to our team and to HBN, and we appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much.
So everybody, at here in about 4 minutes, Coach Marcus is doing a BizOp call. If you'd like to jump on that, feel free to do so. I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording here.